Hello, everyone, and welcome to Unmasked, a Beyond Worthy podcast. My name is Rachel Peck, and I'm so excited that all of you are here listening. Tap into your breath and just take a few seconds to ground wherever you are. Notice this moment. Notice how you feel, what you hear. And then we'll get started. I am so excited to introduce the Noah Paul Harrison, my brother-in-law.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to Unmasked.
Come on. I'm glad to be here.
This is going to be so fun. Noah and I just walked here from the one subway train. It is about 90 degrees outside.
It's cooking out there.
How you feeling, Noah?
I feel good. I went to the bathroom here, and it was literally like a maze. Columbia University is awesome and very spread out, but I feel good. I'm so glad to be here. Yeah, I'm feeling great.
Good. Well, thanks for taking the time and joining me and for listening to many of my episodes thus far.
Oh, yeah.
As you know, we always start with the 3 words each guest would use to describe themselves, which
Okay.
I know can be very challenging and ironically defining. However, we're going to stick to the trend.
Okay.
Noah's 3 words: kind, tough, and fervent. Let's kick it off with kind. I know that you're kind, but have you always been kind? Does everyone know this about you? Tell us about your kindness.
Yeah, I'd say I'm a pretty kind person. Have I always been kind? I think I've always been a soft guy for sure. You know, there was like the football guys, the cool guys that were tough and strong, and I was like trying to be like them, but I was like, I wasn't. I think I've always kind of been like a soft teddy bear kind of guy, I'd say.
Oh.
Yeah.
What's been the hard part about that? Have you found challenges being more soft in that sense?
Yeah, I would say there's times where I'm like, I need to not be mean, but I need to be very direct in different situations. And even like stuff with a landlord, and I want to be nice to this guy, but also like my ceiling just collapsed, you know? So I think there are definitely times where I have to learn to be like very direct and kind of let people know for the sake of my family, you know?
Mhm.
I have to, not step away from being kind, but I have to step into being very forward with people. So, yeah.
Easy to get walked over when
Yeah, for sure.
too much kindness exists, or being nice. I've felt that before.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I feel like you might have to give us some context about this ceiling that crashed
Oh my
into
gosh.
you. You know, where was it? What happened?
Yeah. So, yeah, this was like a year after Carling and I, your sister, moved to New York. Things were going great. And we were actually about to go on a trip like the next morning to your cousin's wedding. And literally like the night before we leave, we're laying in bed and I hear a in the other room. And I woke up out of my sleep. I was like, I think that was a dream, but maybe not. So I go out and I open the bathroom door and the ceiling is completely collapsed onto the ground.
Oh my God.
And there's drywall, there's crap and rocks, and it was the craziest thing. It was also scary because I was like, what if we were in there brushing our teeth, you know? But then I also found out that's like a semi-normal thing for pre-war buildings in New York, which I was like, that's kind of disheartening. But yeah, basically the lady above us likes to take baths, but she sometimes forgets to turn the water off whenever she fills up the tub.
Yikes.
And so that happened, and the water collapsed the ceiling, and yeah.
So many fun New York residential experiences that I have heard.
Yeah.
One of
certain.
many. And I just have to say, Noah joined us today and is a new dad of twins, you guys.
Yep.
My sister and him are champions. How long has it been? Like 5 weeks?
Yeah, a little over 5 weeks.
And you're in New York
Yep.
City
Yes.
in a new apartment. So
New apartment.
bathroom squared away.
No collapsing ceilings.
How would you describe being a dad of twins, boy and a girl?
I think that it's interesting because before you have kids, every parent you meet tells you the same stereotype over and over again. And they're like, you're going to be so tired. You're going to hate your life, but you're going to love your life at the same time. They're going to be like, you're going to be smashed, but at the same time, you're going to be so full of love. It's going to balance out. And I would say that not every, but almost every stereotype that I heard about being a dad feels true. And maybe times 2 with twins a little bit. Yeah, I would say overall, it feels like an honor to be taking care of these 2 children that Carling and I created, mostly Carling, that we literally brought into this world. And now we're like in charge of keeping them alive and setting them up for a great life. It feels like a huge honor. And then at some points, it feels massively stretching. If a marathon is the most I could run, I feel like I'm running 50 miles. I'm like, how am I going to do this? This is way beyond what I thought I could do. So I feel in some moments it feels like that. I'm like, this is crazy. But overall, it's been really good. Family has helped a lot. Your mom has been so helpful. And Carling is just a boss, you know. If it was just me, we'd be toast. We'd be totally toast. Yeah.
She is indeed a boss, I will say.
She
and
is.
Obviously, having twins, it was very unexpected. But
It was.
not only unexpected, you guys were actually told that you only had one at first.
Yes.
And then
Yep.
how did it feel when, well, I guess maybe share the story.
Well, Carling came home after the first, I think she went to a midwife and they did a scan of the babies. And the lady looked at it and said, yep, there's one. So Carling came home after that scan and was like, good news, we don't have twins. And I was like, whoo, thank God.
Did she actually say that?
Something like that, yeah. She's like, good news, no twins. And I was like, oh my goodness, we're going to be okay. And then the next scan we went to, the lady was looking, she goes, yep, there's 2 in there. Oh my God. And Carling and I are like, what? She's like, yeah, you have twins. And we're like, no, we don't. She's like, yes, you do. Okay.
What was your first thought?
We both were laughing, but like crying laughing.
Yeah.
A little sad laugh, but still happy.
Yeah.
We were freaking out.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, huge congrats to you both. It's been a blessing witnessing both of you. You are both bosses.
Thank you.
Will you share a bit about what brought you to New York? Give us some context.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I will. So Carling and I met in Northern California in a little town called Redding, a little mountain town, and kind of met in a church environment. We were at, you know this, but like we met at ministry school and got married, and we kind of spent like a year both being like, what's next for us? Are we supposed to stay longer? Because we had been there for about, at this point, like almost 6 years. And we're like, are we supposed to stay? Are we supposed to launch into a new thing? And at that time, our pastor, Joel and Sarah, they were prodding us a little bit like, hey, come out and do worship for our New York worship nights. And I remember telling Carly, hey, just so you know, we are not moving to New York. I do not care what, like it's not happening. And we went out, and I remember both of us, we just both felt like our hearts were lit up for the city and for the people here. And we both just fell in love with the city. And we both had this yearning in our heart. And we both really felt like God was leading us to move here, really. And then part of that was the Powers had offered for me to be the worship pastor of the church that they were planning. At the time, it wasn't Bethel, New York, but it is now Bethel, New York. So it's a church plant from our church in California. So that was what brought us here. And then I think at the end of the day, it was a bit random because I have never had a desire to live in New York City. I grew up in Michigan, so I was like, I'm going to move to California. I'm going to move to Texas, Florida, somewhere nice and warm, nice and toasty. But now we're here. It's crazy.
Had you always been engaged with religion, spirituality? Have you always had a relationship with God? Will you tell us a bit about how that came about and bridging the gap to ministry school as well?
Yeah. My family, many generations back, were Christian. So I grew up in a Christian home. My parents, I grew up in a Christian home. We didn't actually go to a traditional big church as a kid because my parents had started a church plan and ended up doing like home church. So I grew up, oddly enough, in like a small group setting. where we would meet. Basically, like, people would bring potluck. We would meet at someone's house and do worship together, and people would share. There was no preacher, there was no pastor. It was just like basically a small group. And people would share maybe a verse from the Bible or something they were learning that week. We would sing songs and then eat a bunch of chili, which I'm now a chili fan. I hated chili as a kid. But anyways, that was what I grew up in. I ended up serving as a high school student. After I figured out I was bad at sports, I figured out I was like okay at music. I was like, I'm okay. I'm not like amazing, but I'm okay. And I started playing guitar and songwriting and all this stuff. And I started serving at this church in my hometown where I met a ton of my friends even still today. And through that process, just started growing in, one, my relationship with God. And basically, I went from being very insecure about my life and wanting to fit in, wanting to be cool, because I was never like excelling at anything specific like academics or sports, or I've always kind of been a short king, you know.
Get out of here.
I've always kind of been that guy, but that's okay. It's good. Short kings are great.
Absolutely.
Carling thinks so.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
And the twins.
I mean, hopefully, yeah, they might be short. They might be tall. I don't know. We'll see. I'm lost a little bit.
That's okay. You were saying that you didn't feel like you were excelling in many
Yeah.
areas.
Yes, I grew up in my family's faith, but kind of in that season when I was in high school, I think is when I really started to have a relationship with God and really learning about Jesus through the Bible beyond just a Sunday service, like actually for myself pursuing that, you know, having little worship and prayer sessions with my friends. And there was like this mixture of, on one hand, I was growing in community and I was developing deep depth with friends where we were being really real with each other. It wasn't surface level. It was like real deep friendship. And on the other, I was also developing a relationship with the Lord at the same time. And then on the third hand, I was also growing in my desire to be like excellent in music and to grow in that. So at that time, all three of those things all collided with, there was a ministry school called BSSM in Reading. It still is. And I think that from what I had seen from a distance, it had all three of those things. There was like a big awareness of like emotional health and people with healthy hearts. There was people that were really pursuing God and having a real deep connection with God. And then there was also really beautiful music at the same time. So I went out there with a few of my friends. I was like 18 or 19.
So right after high school?
I did an internship at my church right out of high school that I was serving at for a year. And then after that internship, I moved to go to Reading. Yeah, so I did the school. I met Carling at the school. We kind of had a bit of a standoff because I think we both thought each other was cool. But she thought I was a bit of a twerp, to be honest, because I was...
What do you mean by that?
I just was like, you know, I'm a bit younger. I'm almost 4 years younger. And I was in that group of young guys where we were like, we just kind of thought we were pretty cool. And I know Carling was like, you're not cool. But we had a friendship through school. And then at the end of school, I asked her on a date. And the rest is history. She fell for me immediately. I'm just kidding.
And here you are now.
I'm joking.
Did you receive much judgment or concern around not going to college? What was that like?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I don't have my education. I think, no, that's such a good question. I will say this. I did do 3 classes at Rochester College.
You're like, I'm too good for this.
I did do 3 classes, and I don't think I got much criticism because I think the people that I was running with I was drawn more towards musicians and maybe more people that you would find as self-starter doing their own thing. And so the people I was drawn to, I think, were stoked for me that I was making some of the decisions I was making. I don't think there was criticism. I think just maybe coming out of high school, everyone is like, oh, I'm committed to this school. I'm going here. I'm going here. And you just naturally feel a little bit like, I don't really know what I'm doing. So I definitely felt that, where I was like, I feel a little maybe bummed that my path doesn't feel that clear right now. But also at the same time, I'm like, if I ever felt like I needed to or wanted to, I always could go back to school, you know?
Yeah.
I just have felt like I want to do the thing that's in front of me that feels like this is what I'm supposed to do. And it hasn't really felt that way yet. So I've just kind of been doing other things, side quests.
Love that.
It's a good question.
I'm glad. It sounds like it was more of an internal battle than it was dealing with external voices and sources coming at you.
Yeah, I'd say so.
You mentioned that when you were younger and not feeling like you were excelling in certain things,
Yeah.
like academics, sports, whatever, even music. And now where you are in terms of being signed with Bethel Music, if I'm allowed to say that, I think the world knows.
Yeah.
And
Winning the Grammys.
exactly. Yeah. I mean, Noah
Yep.
Paul Harrison, go look him up, guys.
Just kidding.
But how do you feel saying that about your younger self in the context of where you are in your current life? Like, do you still feel that way at all? Or have you come to this acceptance of like, oh, I'm really good. My music rocks. Where are you at? Because clearly you're excelling.
I think some people are gifted in the sense that they're like, I don't mean this in a mean way, but they're kind of flashy in the sense of they do things just like very extraordinary and it really draws attention to it. And I've always kind of felt like I've been a slow burner kind of person, kind of a late bloomer in that way. I don't know, man, that's a good question, Rachel. If I was looking at my future self, I think I would feel really proud that there's certain things I haven't given up on. I would say that. I'd be like, oh, I'm glad that I didn't give up on that thing yet. It's interesting with music, whenever you get an achievement and you get fill in the blank, X amount of plays on whatever, or people verbally tell you they like your art, whatever. It's crazy how you can have this level of achievement and feel awesome. And then a year later, it feels like if you don't have the next thing, you feel like you're failing, which is crazy. Going back to the slow burner thing, I don't know if I've ever felt like, oh my gosh, the music is exploding or whatever. I don't know that I'd say that, but I think it's been a slow, long burn of continuing to pour into the craft of songwriting and producing and leading worship and all these different, yeah.
I imagine that it's challenging, for example, when someone gives you high praise. Whenever I'm around and someone is giving you high praise, you always almost hand it over to God and count your blessings.
Yeah.
And I've always been in great admiration of the way that you're so humble. And one thing I wonder is navigating the handing it over and not tapping into the ego of, oh, this is all me.
Yeah.
I'm the reason.
Oh my gosh.
How is it navigating the ego of the likes and the praise and all of that while you have your new albums coming out, and then also trying to ground yourself in what you're rooted in, your spirituality, your religion?
Oh my gosh, that's an amazing question. I'll say this. I'm speaking probably more to Christian music. And so I know that not everybody listening has that context. But truly, I think that people they have gifts and their art is beautiful. But I really do think that all art and everything that is beautiful is a gift. And I was working on one of the songs that was on my album that just came out. It's one of the singles. And I was reminded in the session we were writing, we were singing, we got the bridge down, and immediately one of the guys in the songwriting session, he's also a Christian, he just started like thanking God. He was like, oh my gosh, thank you, God, for this melody. Thank you for this lyric. And I remember it was such a good reminder for me that, oh my gosh, all of this is a gift. Yes, people have talent and things that we've been given, but everything that is good and beautiful is a gift. And it's not like we didn't create that melody. We didn't create those lyrics. We actually, that has always existed and we caught it in the moment. And God was so gracious to let us catch that. And so I think, man, it can be easy to start to internalize things and be like, man, I'm so cool. I came up with that thing. I'm so creative. But I have to remember that everything I've been given is a gift, and it's not actually mine to hold on to. Whenever I can be in that place and remember that every good thing in my life I didn't necessarily earn, but it was given to me as a gift, I feel like I can posture my heart better to be a better person. I can choose to be like grateful and live a life with gratitude rather than being like me. It's all about what I can achieve, what I can create. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know if that answers the question.
Definitely. Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Of course.
I wonder for someone who doesn't have a relationship, say with God or a higher power, how you would describe the feeling of, for example, when you were deciding about moving to New York and you guys just came here and felt like God was telling you to move.
Yeah.
What does that actually feel like or sound like just for someone who might not have that relationship?
That's a good question. They're all good questions. I can maybe just describe what I felt, and maybe that could be the best answer I could give. I would say the best way I could describe feeling like called to something or directed towards a certain thing is the feeling of my heart being tugged. When we felt like God was calling us to be here, I felt beyond just an emotional feeling of heart flutters. I felt like a genuine pull and tug. And there was definitely many days, many weeks where I just thought about, oh man, I want to do this. That's the best way I could describe it, is like feeling like a heart tug, a heart pull. Yeah.
Have you ever been disappointed by following a decision you made based on a heart pull or a heart tug? And I asked this
disappointed.
I asked this question just because I think about similarly, I wouldn't say I have the relationship with God that you and my sister do. With that being said, I'm more comfortable saying I do believe in a higher power and something that is out there creating the way and blessing our lives.
Sure.
And so I view exactly what you described as intuition as well. And thinking about every time that my intuition has tried to lead me, it's always felt fruitful on the other side. And a lot of times I've resisted it because it's been like my mind has taken over and I haven't followed that heart pull.
Yep. Even that word intuition, I think sometimes people, to sound spiritual, it's like, I heard this audible voice tell me, move to New York. I didn't necessarily feel that. In a way, I sort of did in my heart, but I think what you described of like intuition, I feel like God created us in his likeness, and feeling that intuition, it's like, okay, there's a part of me that is connected to the Lord that is, Anyways, I was going to say, to answer your question, yes and no. I think that I've never regretted it. I've never regretted when I just went for it, when I felt like I was supposed to do something and I did it. But at the same time, there's also been many times where I've said yes to something and did it, and it was really painful. I don't know if that makes sense. Like,
totally.
Even New York, for example, we said yes to it, and there's been very challenging moments. I don't feel like, oh my gosh, God is parting the sea, we're doing this thing, we're saying yes to it, and everything is working out perfect. I would say quite the opposite. I would say we said yes to this thing, and certain things opened up really easily, and then there's been a lot of challenges and things we've had to work through. And so I don't think I've regretted it, but every time I've said yes to something, I've always gone through various seasons of trial through that. So yeah.
That makes total sense.
For sure.
So real.
Rent price being one of them.
We haven't touched on your other two words, and we're like running out of time.
Oh my gosh.
Let's go.
Snap.
So tough. I mean, New York has probably really brought out the toughness in you, but tell us about tough.
New York. Oh, man, I did these words very fast, and so I didn't think super deeply about them.
Okay.
But tough, man. When I think of the word tough, like I mentioned, I am a soft guy, but I feel like I can say that I rarely have backed down when I feel like I'm supposed to do something and stay in. I've stayed in it to the end. Whenever there's something I'm doing, I try to basically hold on to it until it falls apart. So even with music, there's definitely been a lot of seasons where I have had no visible fruit or, oh my gosh, all the plays, all the whatevers. But I've been like, no, I feel like this is what I want to do. This is what I feel like I'm supposed to do. I love doing this, and I'm just going to keep going and just grinding it. Have I been like perfect at these things? Probably not, but I feel like overall I've stayed in the fight in some ways. Yeah.
I see that.
Yeah.
And your last word, fervent.
Fervent.
I learned a new word today because I had to look it up.
Low-key, I did too.
So you looked up this word. Wait, tell us more. How did you come across this word?
I Googled what's a word that describes someone who feels things deeply. And I scrolled through some of the words, and that was one. And I was like, fervent. Okay. Yeah. So I sent that to you. Fervent.
I feel like I looked it up and it was a different.
Uh-oh.
No, it could be both. But I also read something
see?
about it being someone who's ferociously passionate about the things that they do.
Yeah.
Is
that's
that
in
aligning?
there. That's in there.
Okay,
yeah.
Those are together. Okay, we'll roll with those.
I don't know if I consider myself ferocious.
Okay, not I think I inserted ferocious. It was definitely passionate. And I see that passion come out in the way that you produce music and so many other things.
Let's go.
Will you tell us a bit about the album that's slowly being released right now and what it means to you?
Yes, I will tell you. The record, the album, the project is called Do Not Go Gentle. And it comes from a poem in the movie Interstellar. That's called Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night. And basically this poem, for some reason I'm blanking on the author's name, which is a little embarrassing, but it's okay.
We'll insert it in the comments, don't worry.
Insert it in the comments. Dang it, forgot it. Anyways, the poem was written, the author, the poet, wrote this poem about I believe about his dad that was actually dying. And the poem is basically a charge to his dad to say, you're going to die, but don't go easy. Don't just give in to death. Fight into the last second. And the project, in my mind, entails the life of someone who is trying to follow God. And there is this imminent reality of you will go through suffering and you'll go through pain. And I think the overarching theme in the project is that God is with you. And so don't give in to bitterness and depression and all these things. Actually walk the narrow road and actually, just don't give up and don't give in. And it's basically this reality of there will be seasons of night, for lack of better words, where there are really hard things happening. You can't control them, but don't just give in to it. The project is meant to be encouraging in my mind. I hope that's how it lands. Yeah.
Is this something you dreamed about when you were younger and loved music, but didn't feel like you were that great at it? Did you ever see this for yourself?
I think I did. I've always wanted to make music and get to share music with people. So yeah, I would say yes. I feel like I've almost most of my life I've wanted to. I'm really excited. This is my first album. I've had some singles in an EP or two, but this is my first like complete project, which I feel really, really excited about. Dylan Thomas. Oh,
there we go.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
That's the author of the poem.
Okay. Dylan Thomas.
Hey, this is what happens when you have twins that are running on 3 hours of sleep.
Yes,
we'll cut you some slack.
Cut me some slack, please. Please.
What would you say the most joyful part of music, production, all that work that you do?
Yeah.
What brings you the most joy?
What brings me the most joy? Let me think. I would say there's a phase where there's no song, and then all of a sudden there's a song. And it's the coolest thing because you can go into a songwriting session by yourself or with somebody else. I like to work with other people as much as I can. But you go in and maybe you don't have an idea. Sometimes you bring an idea, but you walk out of the room whenever you're done and there's this thing that was conceived like a piece of art and it wasn't there before. And it's the coolest thing. And so I think my favorite part is the kind of initial first 50% of a song coming to life. So getting to like dream it up a little bit, getting to work on the melody and the feel and the tempo and the some of the lyrics. I don't consider myself to be I think there's some people that are very good at being detailed and excellent with writing lyrics and even just thinking about arrangement from a very complex standpoint. I'm a bit more of just a feel guy. I just love feeling out things, and I like to make demos of stuff where I put in fake drums and fake this and that and just create a sketchboard of like, where could this thing go? That phase of the song is my favorite. It's the best.
Do you think you being someone who feels so deeply helps you be a better writer, singer, songwriter?
Yeah, I think so. I think so for sure. Some of my favorite songs I've gotten to work on or write come from a genuine feeling. I would say most of them, whether it's a feeling of desperation or of joy or whatever. I feel like most of them come from that. I also feel like one thing that I maybe feel like I can bring into the process of a song is, how does it make you feel when you're singing it or listening to it? Again, I want to work on and grow in and being more detailed. But I do feel like that's something that I enjoy doing, is when I'm sitting on my laptop and making it, I'm listening back to it. I'm like, okay, if I were just listening to this, how would this feel? So yeah, I'd say so.
Wow. Oh man, I have so many more questions. Luckily, I can ask you so many more all day for the rest of the night. But unfortunately not here. So
sorry.
The final question that I want to ask is, what are you most proud of yourself for, outside of all of your achievements, your album, everything?
What am I most proud of? Wow. It's challenging. It's challenging to talk about myself so much. But what am I most proud of? Oh my gosh. It's really hard.
Or one of the things about your character, who you are.
I would say that, gosh, I don't know. I really value genuine connection and honesty and realness with people. I'd like to think that I've tried to prioritize that over a lot of other things, making sure that the connection that I have with people and even with the Lord is genuine. And I'm not putting up a front, and I'm not cultivating a life that's inviting fakeness or just disingenuousness with the people that I'm around. So that's what I'd say.
That's great.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, everybody, you can find Noah Paul Harrison on Instagram, Spotify, all the places.
Let's go.
And
TikTok. Yeah.
Ooh.
Shockingly.
Okay. Twitter?
I don't think
or wait,
Twitter
X. Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't think that exists.
I'm not on either.
I'm not on X.
You're not on X.
No.
Okay. Wow. I can't believe I just said Twitter. Okay. Thank you, Noah, for being here once again and taking time away from the fam. Really appreciate you. And thanks everyone for listening.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
See you soon.